folks. This one's gotten me fired up. I'm really trying to just stay calm. In case I forget, gonna go over some graphic images, videos, really heart-wrenching stuff. So if you have kids near, go somewhere they're not. I know on Rumble, this is the awesome thing about Rumble. When you got the account and everything, it's a free account set up, you could actually turn even the screen off and continuously listen. And I'm not really going to go through all the details and articulate everything that's being played. So if you're not good with it, but there's such an important level to absorbing this information and understanding the depths of our true corruption and the evil that is in and around us in this world and the time we are given. Wow, this goes so well with the elevator music. I tell you what, let me do a quick verification that the stream's going through. One moment. Welcome, by the way. Love you. Thank you so much for being here today. I value extremely your time into tuning in. It shows you got a heart. You care. And I love you for that. Thank you. Let's not mess around. Welcome to a muzzled chat. That is so retro. That's cracking me up. But I think the more retro it ends up, the harder it's going to be to walk away from that little, whatever you want to call it, jingle. We started using that, over 2 years ago? I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Just saying, unless we get some experts around to advise otherwise. Talk a little more inspirational, shall we? Folks, we as a collective must gain more momentum. Our voices must get louder. Let's become truly unmuzzled. We, in fact, are lacking proper organization. And I'm a limited being. I'm just a one-man band over here. I'm doing my darndest to capture so much of this information. And believe you me, on today's topic, I almost want to race right into it before it's gone. Because I even forwarded some of this around to some of the chats I'm in. And already today, a lot of that information has already been suppressed and entirely nuked off the internet. So in a way, this is capturing it on episodes such as this, kind of keeping it there. If we can't find the links, and these links that I will post this very episode are no longer good, well, it's captured in this very episode. That's valuable, invaluable with the oppression we are facing. So call to action right here, right now. One of the simplest steps we could take in this moment is to simply hit the like button on this very episode. Now, I know I haven't brought the value or put any meat on this bone, but please consider that, and do not forget, we need that. That builds momentum. That builds attraction for others to even view what they may have never even considered before. And it was through your like. Don't let it stop there. And share this. Follow a Muzzle Chat. Subscribe on all the different platforms. And all the links are provided in the description to any of the episodes below. It is far past time we take these actions and continually seek more steps to take each and every day we are given. I pray more will do just that. Just one more thing and we're going to dive right into the content. Evil has in fact been normalizing violence for generations now. We are all desensitized to it all through the films, the music, so much that's happening in this world. And it has been working. So I want to, if I may, throw an exercise that I have been practicing to observe the gravity, in fact, of what is taking place in our time and in the very content I'm viewing. So what I do often is simply pause it. I pause the content and I view it and try to personalize it in a way. And an example may be on one of the images of a dead child. And I'll pause it. And I'll visualize this. Just an exercise. I visualize this as a younger sibling I never had. Or someone I know that is having children as one of theirs. Then I ask myself, how would I act differently if it, in fact, it were the situation I was faced with? How much deeper would this hit home? This exercise I feel helps. It fills me with more humanity and that desensitization. Excuse me, I'm tripping up on words already. Bear with me. I'm human. It helps me to have love, to build up a bigger reservoir of love to have and pour out to a stranger. Knowing that there is someone out there that cares just as much in any of this content as any of these individuals, just as much as I do for my loved ones. Knowing there's more than likely a multitude of individuals actively mourning that loss of theirs. I also try to exercise the thought of viewing these situations and whatnot through the lens of God, like God's eyes. And when I kind of grasp that for a moment, I don't know, palm to forehead, and it's like, what in the frick is the difference after all? We're all made in his image. We're all his children. And we all, in ways, I don't want to say have equal opportunity in this life to figure out. So that's a flawed statement, but I believe you're catching what I'm trying to state. So I believe this highlights one of the more important real flaws within our very narrow perspectives and understanding. So keep an open mind to all that as we go through this, and be sure to pause it at any point. Try to implement that exercise to bring the humanity and, more important, perspectives and lenses into our daily. And I just want to throw another note out there. Anyone that would tie a label to anyone trying to touch on these topics, exposing the crimes and the sheer suffering, is the damn deceiver. 100%. I'm not shy. I'm not running away from any of the labels. Heck, give them all to me. That being said, let's go. I want to touch on Galatians 6:7 again. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Seemingly he is in this mortal existence, but knowing there will be perfect justice for all at some point, I could see the mockery taking place all over. For example, the memorial service of Charlie Kirk. How politicians utilize that and hijacked that momentum in the dear sorrow, vulnerable moment of so many individuals and filled it full of deception was utterly disgusting. I don't even have words. But let's just keep in mind, God isn't mocked on any of our levels, on an individual level, on a country level, a world level. I believe he's gonna have perfect justice all the way around. So let's not live out, as we touched on in that last episode, the biggest lie of them all. The one that we more often than we like to admit, tell to ourselves. So let's not be deceived. Let's seek truth of any given situation. Because right here, I believe what's getting touched on in Galatians 6:7 is essentially what we sow is what we reap. Now, I know it's important to think on individual level, but think on a country level. What we sow here in America, he won't be mocked. Let's not be deceived, because we shall also reap what we sow as a nation. That being said, I just want to show, like, this tells us everything. Nuked. The post is unavailable. That tells us all we need to know. All right. Now you're warned. This is graphic. It goes through a lot of the content really quick. We played this song the other day. This is one of the renditions, the more graphic ones, the more recent ones, because the fact of the matter is the war crimes, the genocide that's continuously happening over there on our dime, it's ramping up. It's only getting worse. So I imagine there'll even futuristically be renditions of this very song. Worse, more gut-wrenching than this. And I can't even imagine that day. I pray the future song, the whole song gets rewritten, because we answered the call. I guess before that, let's actually tap in to this. I don't know why I felt impressed. I guess we'll just stay on the organization. What is Israelis calling for? Before we go into it, what are they calling for? Listen to it. Let's observe and absorb what they're stating themselves.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה.
ومش راح يكون في عندكم كهرباء ولا مي بس دمار.
Gaza will become an area where people cannot live.
זהו מאבק, יהיו כפי שנאמר כאן, מאבק בין בני האור לבני החושך.
It's an entire nation that is responsible.
אנחנו עכשיו מגלגלים בעצם את נכבת עזה, אם תרצה, נכבת עזה.
אנחנו לא לוקחים בחשבון שחמאס הוא לא האויב, אלא כל עזה הוא האויב.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק, נצטווינו.
הם צריכים לזכור עם עמלק. הם צריכים לזכור את זה להרבה מאוד זמן.
Do you know, on that kind of lens, Amalek is also, by the very prime minister himself, admittedly the West, including America? So if he's actively talking about and doing what they're doing there, I'm just saying, futuristically, where does it stop? Obviously, they don't have the means. They don't even have the means to be doing what they're doing without us. But let's not be mistaken. That doesn't mean futuristically, by that belief, that 100% futuristically will blow up in our face. How are we so deceived?
השתמשו הרבה בימים האחרונים במילה נקמה. אני לא קוראת לזה נקמה, אני קוראת לזה צדק.
אני רוצה לשמוע פגזים וארטילריה כבדה.
צריך להקים התיישבות יהודית בשטח רצועת עזה, כדי שתהיה שם נוכחות יהודית לאורך זמן.
שחררתי את כל המעצורים. את הכל.
אנחנו לא נדבר לאויב בשפה מערבית מלטפת, אלא בשפה ערבית.
אז זה לא תחזור להיות משהו, וחמאס לא יהיה. חסר את הכל.
כוח, ועוד כוח.
שלא הם, לא אמא שלהם, לא הילדה שלהם, לא התינוקות שלהם.
טוב בלי שאני רואה בתים קורסים בעזה.
אני משטחת את עזה. אין לי סנטימנטים.
אתם תמשיכו לרעוב, תמשיכו למות, הבתים שלכם ימשיכו להישרף.
תינוק שם הוא אויב, כיתה באלף הוא אויב, אישה בהיריון הוא אויב.
אז אין סימטריה, והילדים
This is utterly disgusting. They're literally praising the annihilation of innocent lives, children, women. If that's not pure evil, folks, I don't know what is. And it's not just regular citizens. These are individuals that hold all the positions of power there. Not to mention the prime minister himself that has visited this current administration more than any other foreign leader. Full stop. By a lot. And not just this go around and not just this administration. That's where both right and left equally have been serving. They're fulfilling the role. It's all fake. It's all a construct.
Brought
upon themselves an innocent child.
עוד בתים, עוד מגדלים.
להרוס ולהתקדם, להרוס ולהתקדם.
כמה שיותר גופות.
תשמיד את עזה עכשיו! עכשיו!
Dancing in the streets. Wipe the seat of Amalek. That means USA too. This is utterly evil, folks. It is important. Where are the men? Where are the men? I applaud the women that see no other option, that more of us, irregardless, get engaged. The only reason I feel more women are emboldening themselves to even do that is because men, at the basis, we are failing our roles even to protect our women to such a degree that we could even protect them from that level of darkness so they could be the bearers of light and work the miracles we cannot in this life. Through birth, through support, through the beauty, through the innocence. So I champion those women. But I plead and not just beg, I am calling for men to fulfill their role and step up. That being said, here we go.
One whole year of genocide. Real beheaded babies with no front pages. Israelis raping Palestinians in cages. US paid the wages. UK supplied intelligence. Elephant in room evidence. Levels of malevolence. Catastrophe developments. Starvation skeletons. Pestilence's prevalence. Trauma inheritance. Rampaging regiments. Degenerates wreck tenements. Weapon test experiments. Leave population to elements. Concentration collate. In a camp where death awaits, a bomb descends and detonates. Disembowels, evaporates. Torsos torn shreds. Bodies no heads. Girls with no legs on their deathbeds. Heads without skulls. Hollowed out holes where there were souls. Dreams, goals. A father's last cuddle in a blood-soaked puddle. A ghostly grey child hangs plucked from the rubble. Planes bombing. Shrapnel, embedded children, babies burned to ash. Headlines without who killed them. Sick systems, blame the victims for their decisions. Ignore the symptoms of cruel, callous coalition. Psychopathic politicians that they hate the mission. Incarcerate in prison, never pardon or forgiven. 24/7, 365. One whole year of genocide. The world's most documented genocide in history. The most moral army in the world's military. Kills children, causes misery. Bombs buildings, deforms physically. Media lied deliberately. Propaganda trickery. Death upon delivery. Her weapons supplied artillery. From right to left to liberally. Unequivocally. Cold cowards criminally. Well stand by, do minimally. This is not a mystery. Take it back to history. Evil banality. Left horror to prevail. Nothing is illegal if no one could tell. When good people do nothing, humankind fail. Just a passive tale. Blind masses on a massive scale. Last breath exhale. Decomposing personnel. Death is all around the smell. Welcome to the gates of hell. Mow the grass, then expel. Escape comprehended. The Nakba never ended as the bombs dropped, descended on the child undefended. A soldier smiled demented. Self-defense presented. Victimhood invented. Words pretend offended. Force of freedom makes you quiver. From the sea to the river. Tidal wave, every killer. Every sniper pulling trigger. Every child that you disfigure. Paints the world a bigger picture of a country getting sicker. Genocide, spread the virus, racist righteous. Right to rape riots, pious pirates. Existential crisis, there's no coming back from this. Collapse the state catalyst, your own antagonist. Psycho-sadomasochist as Palestine persists. For the right to exist, the right to resist gets demonized, dismissed. 24/7, 365. One whole year of genocide. 1 year of genocide. 1 year of reign.
Multiple.
We're normalizing violence. We're normalizing pain. We're organizing silence, making it mundane. 1 whole year of genocide. 1 whole year of pain. Genocide. 365. 1 whole year of genocide.
Sorry, folks. Give me a minute. You know what? I wanted to make some points. I'm unable to at the moment. I apologize. Let me go into this next slide here.
There is no army in the world that acts in a more moral fashion than the army of Israel.
Lies.
Wow! How many Palestinians have you killed?
I don't know, 20, 50. I don't count.
Guys, we're booming Gaza right now. I'm trying to eat my popsicle.
We your baby's here.
You think it's funny?
Yeah, it's very funny.
Would you say that Israel is on track for a strategic victory in Gaza?
You want me to go first?
אתם הומלסים, הומלסים אתם!
Keep this Palestine! Oh no! Very good! Very good, okay?
Pure evil.
I kill you!
Pure evil.
Most of the people here are racists because we were taught to be.
Those are our bombs. America's.
Only America can help us. We need their support, not just in munitions, but we need them also to protect us in the UN Security Council. And we will need them even in The Hague.
העזתים, מבחינתי שירגו למוות, מה אכפת לי מהם? עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל!
to thank President Biden for his unequivocal support. I want to thank the people in Congress of the United States of America.
Now he's thanking Trump.
The entire civilized world wins.
Maybe I killed a girl, she was 12, but I'm looking for a baby. There is no babies left.
Disgusting. It's really hard. It is so hard. And my heart goes out to the suffering and the loss of life. My heart weeps to our whole nation and turning a blind eye as though this is a biblical Israel, which it is not. It was established in 1948 by the banking cabal that is already enslaving you in your own country. It makes sense. You ask the question, why would President Donald J. Trump, already in this administration, supply hundreds of thousands and tons of bombs, $12 billion, and that's what we know, trying to push for an additional $9 billion? Is it just because, how do they have him? Is it the money? Is it the $230 million? Is he that cheap? I know it's a lot of money, but I wouldn't accept that for a single life. What does that tell us about Trump? Is it the money? What is it? Could it possibly be his billionaire playboy lifestyle, befriending Epstein, now covering that up, knowing Epstein was a Mossad agent working through Mossad, and Maxwell and her father tied into Mossad, which is ran by what? Israel, once again, ran by the banking cabal. So what is it? What has Trump on his knees on behalf of this foreign country? Frankly, the answer to that is irrelevant, because he is. And we're guilty, in a sense, to this genocide through association. We're paying for it as taxpayers. And even if you don't pay the criminal income tax, unconstitutional income tax, we're still all paying into it through the tax, the other 6 million layers of it. More from me in a minute. I gotta compose myself. Let's go into this one. Just look.
Now, I'm not playing around when I say that Christianity and Israel can never coexist. Never. Because it directly contradicts the written word of God. We also...
If you don't understand what he was talking about, seek the answers for yourself. That is what's most important, that we fire that up, that we stop blindly and trust in the majority of our think is blind trust. If you really are honest and you make a true assessment, when did we really have the time and are right here in America? We're told so much. We have to, blindly trust so much from our parents. Now, the majority of them got a lot of it right. However, and then the education system, the way our societal life has played out, really, I dare to say even I, for sure, where I've made now, it's not a career. I just can't imagine getting engaged in anything else at this point. But even the majority, I'm sure to this day, that is ingrained in me has been through blind trust. And it takes a lot of work, but there's no more worthwhile work to be had than that. Folks, on the coattails of what we just watched, listen to this man, if you could even call him that.
To buy Gaza. We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza. What does that mean? No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
We don't want it.
President, how do you know that the Palestinians don't want to leave their land? Some people
answer
say
that
this
question.
Is ethnic cleansing. You won't be able to force them to leave their land. They
right.
We're moving into a beautiful location where they have new homes, where they can live safely, where they'll have doctors and medical and all of those things, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah, any questions?
You said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today...
We're just going to have it, folks. There are Christian leaders currently still in that land stating they are not going to leave. And we continuously are supplying the bombs that Israel, they're not transporting them. Show us. Show us other than your words. Where's this beautiful place you speak of? Where are the buses, the boats, the planes, the trains? Show us that they all accept this move. Why is it your administration, doesn't it make sense, is more actively suppressing this very information from getting out in our own country? For what? So you just believe the deception. You believe that man and that lie. Once the pane of glass gains that crack, associating it, tying it to a lie, there's no repairing it. The best one could do is remove it, replace it with a new pane of glass. And the only thing that represents in this analogy is one coming forward and addressing the crack, the lie. Explaining it. They're not doing that. Time and time and time again. That's why, and I was tripping up over the thought of it yesterday, more than 260 documented reporters, journalists have been murdered, assassinated, trying to expose the crimes that are taking place over there. And that is more than World War I and Vietnam combined. Unbelievable. 6 types of politicians in the U.S. bought by Israel, blackmailed by Israel, dual citizenship of Israel, scared of Israel, killed by Israel. Thomas Massey. That's all you got. You don't have left. You don't have right. You don't have any of that. This is what it is. And if that doesn't make sense to you, well, I sure hope you put on your hiking shoes and start going down the paths. Just like today's image. Man, I struggled with AI generator. I need to figure some type of tool out, but we could even throw it up here. But the comforting lies, unpleasant truths. I wanted this path to even walk over to the edge of the cliff. Look, there's flowers. The masses just conform to everyone else, folks. This looks challenging. Who cares what may happen at the top? The sheer bliss, the insight, the view sure is better than walking off the edge of the cliff. But it's an unpleasant truth. It's challenging versus an easy walk. The choice is yours. But this is so blatantly in our face. I don't know how we're continuously even lying to ourselves. I hope that showed. I couldn't even see what I was doing on this screen, doing all that. But let's just continue on. And we played this one yesterday on the last episode. If you haven't checked out the last few episodes, please check them out. He threatens. He even calls these individuals terrorists. See if you could catch that.
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country.
Yeah,
what do you mean the politicians will fall?
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down. Those who agree with Ayatollah, we don't want them in office. And all the sympathizers with terrorists like yourself, we don't want
terrorists like yourself.
Down.
When you study from the book of the devil, like the Talmud, talking about Goy, these individuals may not be that great, but I'm pretty certain they're not terrorists. This gentleman he's a representative to Israel in their intelligence. How do we not even take his threats seriously for what it is? Once again, though, stepping out of it. If my sons did not want wars, there would be none. None other than the Rothschild, mother of one of them. There were more that were curious, and they studied this because they wanted to know, did she state this out of boastfulness, out of warning, maybe guilt? Their conclusion was boasting. And look how in our faces it is now. It's not biblical. It's a banking cabal. It's a synagogue of Satan that Jesus talked about in Revelation 2:9, repeated himself in 3 verse 9, which equates to the latter days, right? Folks, I don't know why, but this one this one kept me up last night. 30 children daily, one every 45 minutes. That's based on the documented deaths we know of. It's more than likely one every 15 minutes. That kept me up at night. How? How are the rest of Americans, when we're supplying the means for all that evil, how are any of us sleeping at night? Anyone that would be like, I sleep just fine, thank you, and want to turn a blind eye, that's the very problem. It goes beyond morality at that point. We're failing our purpose in this existence. Do we need to play this young gentleman and how he addresses doesn't state, but anyway, we'll just play it because I'm tripping up.
For Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we are commanded to support Israel.
No,
those who
not.
bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed.
Wait, what?
And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the
Genesis 12:3. That's what he quoted. Genesis 12:3. What did Cruz say?
Those who bless Israel will be blessed.
Now let's
Cruz,
just read the verse
that's what I was
together,
tripping up.
shall we? I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. Cruzy, where's Israel in this verse? We're just going to go back 2 verses. That's what the Bible's even talking about, okay? The Lord has said to Abraham. The Lord has said to who? Not Israel. Abraham. Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. The Bible is talking to Abraham.
Correct.
There is no mention of Israel in this verse. Your entire belief system, your support to Israel comes from this verse. Now, I've read online the blessing is not only towards Abraham, is for the descendants.
Not to mention, the thing he's not even mentioning is how evil is praying. You can tie the Rothschilds into satanic worship, okay, and Bohemian Grove and so many other things. But what he's not connecting is that is recently, they are the ones behind the establishing of a new land with new borders, calling it Israel. That is not the Israel of old, irregardless. And we're falling for that aspect. I love the call to action. If you're going to talk about the Bible, maybe read it. And that's a call to all of us.
Descendants of Abraham. So the descendants of Abraham is Isaac, and from Isaac you got the Jews. Now the thing is, from the descendants of Abraham you got Ishmael as well, and from Ishmael you got the Arabs. Who are the Arabs? The Palestinians. So according to your theology, my boy, they're both blessed. This is your book, and I'm trying to read through it to understand your belief system and the way you think, and even it just doesn't. Bro, now if you support the state of Israel because of the Bible, maybe read the Bible. And
Exactly. My teleprompter is telling me to check out notes, so we will go into notes. Often trying to find other methods of becoming more organized. Bear with me. One-man band is not easy. You know what? Why not even... We at this point, in this time, in this country, truly deserve everything and anything that is surely coming our way. With these war crimes, this genocide, these atrocities, we're living in such comfort. We're not even paying mind, not even tapping into the Christianity of it, the humanity of it. They're living in our time. We are complicit in their murder, their genocide. I don't want to get too dark about it, because I do believe we have some of the greatest opportunity right here in this very moment to show the ruling class of this world as one people that we will no longer tolerate all their evil bullshit. That we will no longer allow them to divide us. That we won't fall prey to that. Are we going to save everyone from both of that level of deception and construct thinking, brainwashing? No. But I believe there's enough of us that can find the calm and beauty between everyone, unify under that, and over time mend the wounds and the radicalized, unorganic radicalization we've experienced for generations. I believe it as one people we can address our oppressors. All that is dark, all that is ugly and vile. Yes, even all the deception. Sure, it will still exist, but when we bring enough light back, darkness doesn't outshine. Darkness can't exist with a strong enough light. It just can't. We can bring back such a degree, such a country that we would be living in with, through unity, we would experience a level of abundance that we can't even fathom right here in this moment. My question to y'all is, what are we waiting for? Let's play good cop, bad cop. I keep bouncing around. But we got to challenge our think and fire those gears up, because we haven't been using critical thinking for some time. How can someone see this up to this point in this very episode, now knowing what is happening, yet do nothing? Yet say nothing. Entirely excuse ourselves. Excuse the lack of action and of conviction. You can do that all you want. We are talking about countless, literally countless, can't count. We're nearing or over already 500,000. That the majority, so many of these bodies won't even be recoverable. So these innocent lives that we are directly tied to and destroying. So let's stop the worst lie ever told, a lie to ourselves. And put a stop to this right now. Do everything, and I mean everything we can. Anything shy of this would be, in fact, falling for the worst lie ever told to ourselves. There's no excusing this at all or ever. This is simply pure evil. And our actions right now will show who we really are. What in fact we really believe. And we could throw out the triggering labels of all that. We really could. Time to be honest with ourselves. And what do you choose? I'm not trying to be triggering. I'm literally trying to. The only way we're going to achieve a better, brighter future at all, because we're deteriorating as we speak. And we're going to step away from the genocide in Gaza, because that's important. Don't get me wrong. I believe that pulls the veil and the scales off our eyes to see the true depth of the corruption and the evil that's been here since the beginning. We didn't rule that out in our last generation or the generation before, nor in our generation. It's been here the whole time. It's gained a lot of steam. And we can see that. When we can see the depths here and we're willing to be honest with ourselves, then the only solution there is presents itself. The only. Let's get back into the screen share. So this is just take a break from the genocide happening in Gaza. And how did I word it here? I can't. It's jumping too quick. I apologize. But let's take a look into the other methods that they're actively using to directly attack you right here at home as we speak. Fact of the matter is, consider it for a second. If they could add any of us to that body, to that pile of dead bodies, they would in a heartbeat. They truly would. And they'd happily do so. So to think if they don't go to they're going to gain the means one way or another, or even if it's through our own infrastructure. In fact, they're already achieving it just through a different means than bombs and bullets. Let's take a look at these means. Let's try to decompartmentalize it a little bit. Let's take a look at the organizations, even the specific companies now that have been actively attacking just us. And, oh, really? You see that glitch out on me? That ain't good. Oh, that's our live stream. How fun. Okay, here it is. This is tricky to do. But if the very wording of this clip does not convince you of a ruling class, I don't know what will. listen to how the words are crafted. Keep asking important questions to yourself. This is indisputable proof that there is a club and you are not in it. Not that you would want to be part of a satanic cult. Just highlighting it exists and it's ruling over us simply because the good are allowing it. Just give it a listen. Yuval Harari from the World Economic Forum.
Then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have a
How does one even come to the crafting of a question such as that without a ruling class existing?
answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games. But this doesn't sound like a very appealing future.
Not funny. Evil. Okay. Played this one yesterday. Very powerful. We got to find someone, please help find the full content to this mic drop moment. Send it to amuzzledchat@gmail.com. Send the link right here in the comment section of this very episode. It will not go unmissed, and I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, the translators are gone, and the live stream is waning, which means that if we just listen to my colleague Matthias,
so good,
the best thing in the world would be to leave it to you, the people. Now it's up to you to share what clearly, based on the cavernous emptiness we see in all of these spaces, is only going to be heard if you share it. So it feels very appropriate that I should be the one with the quietest voice. But let's let that lion roar, shall we? I'm done talking about COVID, and I'm done talking about SARS-CoV-2, and I'm done for a very simple reason. For 110 years, we, the people of the world, have been lied to. We're a group, a very small number of criminal, industrial conspirators decided to subordinate the entirety of the human population for the purpose of their sinister plans to enrich themselves while impoverishing and killing the rest of humanity. And I'm done being...
Absorb that. Why I'm trying to hit on it from all other angles is because a part of me feels that humanity has died to such a degree that they won't even care about the innocent lives being obliterated abroad. So we got to personalize it to some extent that it is continuing here, and you would be entirely a damn fool to not acknowledge that the very tactics they're using over there, they were 100% willing to use over here.
Polite. We've long passed polite.
Yes.
When the words acceptable death rate become part of an industrial norm, we have lost the plot of humanity. And that's not my words. Those were the words of the World Health Organization and of Pfizer and of Moderna when they were given the authorization to begin the process of killing human beings in the interest of advancing their goals. Next slide.
We'll touch on their goals.
And I'm also not going to sugarcoat this. This is a criminal cartel. We are acting as though there's some sort of redeemable quality somewhere in some esoteric layer that somehow or another the World Health Organization must have some salutatory benefit. Well, I'm going to tell you, since its formation in the 1940s, the World Health Organization has been nothing more than a criminal cartel that has a sole and singular intent. And I will show you the document that proves what I'm saying. This is not an allegation. This is actually provable by their own words in their own hand.
100%. Now, folks, it is not just the World Health Organization. It's the World Economic Forum. It's the New World Order. They've been trying to stand up for a long time. It's Agenda 2030. None of this is conspiracy talk. It's all been built out. So much of it ties right in to our own leaders, our elected officials, whitehouse.gov, government web pages, experiments, etc., etc., etc. But you'll never gain that sight and understand the depths without doing your due diligence. Once again, let's not lie to ourselves. We're blindly entrusting in way too much, and it has been to our demise. I wish we lived in a world where that was not the case, where we could, in fact, blindly trust, and it wouldn't be entirely misused and abused to our demise. But that is not the world we're living in. Snap out of it. Please. If that's not enough, let's look at how the media entertainment, the bread and circuses so many are talking about. These are the new Colosseums like Rome, when there was, what was it? Unrest. Kind of like going among the populace in Rome. What'd they do? Build out the Colosseum to distract the people. The people loved them for it. And all of a sudden they didn't become the threat. Let's not fall prey to the distractions. Now, I get the lure to these distractions because it's so hard. The thing is, when I really ponder on the utopia we could build out here in a land of abundance, I'd venture to say futuristically, life would be so pure, so good, we would even start throwing out our television sets because they're not needed. We're not using them because I believe these tactics are magnified through the oppressive measures that we just need the release. And it's like a double whammy, double negative, doubly negatively impacting because the suppressive measures are having a certain level of impact, but the entertainment level, they're able to subtly infuse all this other type think and just coddle us into manipulate us into whatever kind of, I don't know, let's just say left versus right type of thing. Unbelievable, to our own demise. This is proof, okay? And how even the synagogue of Satan, certain individuals, as Jesus warned, using the three-letter word, Jew, but they are not that. So there's nothing Semitic about calling out an evil individual. We could change the verbiages on this and come up with other more effective analogies that are more digestible for people, but let's not muddy the waters of the situation. If a mafia crime boss, I mean, why wouldn't any mafia crime boss at this point, hey, I'm a Jew and take the hat, go visit the wall, kiss it, and now you can't expose their crimes because that would be anti-Semitic. But he doesn't practice, he doesn't believe, he doesn't anything. They're not Jews. That's what Jesus is warning us about. But listen to this one using this shield. Listen.
Well, of course, Jews don't really participate in athletics. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. Well,
I love how it replayed it, that it still sink in. It's a tough one. Things that were tied into our religious upbringings, that is some of the hardest. It is the hardest like ideas, beliefs to like challenge and actually seek that understanding for ourselves and reprogram, free ourselves from programming, because at that point we're living. It's hard to put into words. So another category, what they're doing with our air, our skies, through chemtrails, through literally sprays of poisons in our skies meant to murder and diminish. Nothing conspiratorial about it. Folks, we've gone over all this in depth over the last 2 years on this podcast. It is factual, It's indisputable. There's so many angles we could go through, but that is not the point of this episode. The point is not to have the argument. It's to show this is what I believe is keeping our morality in check. It's through tactics like this and all the different angles diminishing our resilience and our spiritual nature to even giving a fuck. Pardon my French, but enough is enough. Wake up. This is one of the many presentations where they actually speak out on, in fact, what they're doing and the impact it is having on us.
Actually spray sulfuric acid in the stratosphere 20 kilometers over our head and use that to stop the planet warming up in a ugly tech fix.
You can spray something into the atmosphere to change.
Spray pollution into the atmosphere to stop it warming.
How do you do this?
You start with a fleet of modified business jets and say 20,000 tons of sulfuric acid into the stratosphere every year. And each year you have to put a little more. And this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in emissions.
We'll get to it eventually. In the meantime, we're shrouding the earth in sulfuric acid.
To do.
So people are terrified about talking about this because they're scared that it will prevent us cutting emissions.
Right, and also that it's sulfuric acid.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide.
Okay, but it'll be better if we put more in.
We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more, we're just killing 10,000 more people.
You can do math.
What happens to the sulfuric acid after it?
Unbelievable, folks. There is a mountain of evidence regarding all that. I'm out here in nature as we speak, and it breaks my heart. I keep going out there, and I can distinct on even the matured ones and the spanning of a spray in the sky versus a natural cloud. I mean, it's very easy, obviously, to notice when it spans horizon to horizon. You're seeing it dump out of the jet itself. There's obviously a distinction between a contrail and a chemtrail. Obviously, a contrail, in their actual definition of it, is the one that chases the jet, because their definition is ice crystallization and water vapor. Okay, that doesn't linger and span and blanket slowly through multitudes of them the whole sky. Anyway, I digress. It's hard not to still drop more of the information, but another category, how our food is directly, intentionally poison us. Now, we know about mRNA being pumped into lettuce, tomato, tobacco products, all effective methods. As to whether it's made it to the market, frankly, I don't trust that they're not doing that. We know that they've been jabbing up our cows, our pigs, our chickens, a lot of folks. So this is one of the harder ones. So if they're doing it to these little fish, inventing fish flippers, all this other stuff, automating it, we can't even fathom is so much of it. And so much of this, how much of this fish makes it on market and labeled like wild caught. Unbelievable.
Let's look at vaccinations, arguably one of the most important advancements for farming livestock in the modern age.
Blech.
And the greatest leap forward in fish farming welfare since its massive
we're just going to go through boom, 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 look.
Path to knock that fish and imaged, and this automated fish in its injector as possible.
Fish and flipper right there. That's the injector machine. Boom.
This machine can vaccinate up to 18,000 fish an hour.
Okay. We know the dyes, the preservatives, the chemicals, the GMOs. The list goes on and on. Chemical after chemical. Unbelievable. A lot of us not even knowingly are poisoning ourselves and diminishing. I didn't even pull up the water angle, but our water and fluoride, boom, direct studies, boom, leads to dumbing down, especially our younglings. Oh, but shucks, it will save your teeth. Oh my gosh. What a load of crock. Other angles too, but let's tap into this one. How our tech Phones, 5G, AI are also now being weaponized, directly attacking our abilities as well. Listen to these emissions and how covertly unbelievable.
Guys, if your assessments here are correct, these are very covert weapons, aren't they?
That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things.
And you guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Goldman, for his round of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. Mr. Grozev, I want to follow up a little bit on the interactions you've had with Russian intelligence about...
You got to listen to all this and how covert, and they can't talk about it. There needs to be special clearances, but even in the conversations themselves as to how much, like, it's not conspiratorial, folks. The part of 5G tech is to fry your brain, make you think and feel and act differently to how you normally would be. Could this potentially be what they fired up? Because we all know the installations. They did mass installations, not just in this country, but worldwide during the scam pandemic, and none other time span than when the world shut down. I cannot believe they effectively did that over a scam through their War Machine mainstream media and through lab coats. And you see how it was all incentivized. And the preemptive pardons and protections for individuals. Like, it just says it all. But we're not really connecting the dots, and we're willing to accept the unacceptable, dare I say, due to other things being rolled out and how effective it's been for decades now and generations now. Could this very well be the reason we're dealing with a level of brain fog and inflammation throughout the body that it's even hard to have these conversations or even absorb any of this without taking massive offense, not even viewing the intent? James, why are you here? Why are you divvying up a well-paid career to do what you're doing to try to force feed, blah, blah, blah? It's like, wow, this is extreme sacrifice. And I can't imagine going on a selfish path like that, focused on a freaking bank account, knowing what I know and how they're continuously poisoning you all. Couldn't it be this level of attacks that has diminished our resilience to even see the good-hearted nature as to why I would even do a shift like this? Because I've actively been viewed as someone's like enemy. Like, dude, you're just... And they just use all the labels in the book, not looking at any of the credible information I bring forward. Very interesting. So I don't know with all these angles as to whether or not futuristically they would have to go to the measures they are in Gaza here. So insects, the bug realm. Freaking insects have been weaponized through biological, and it's nothing new. It dates back right here to ancient times, with biblical references describing use of hornets to drive enemies out of their land. Come on, folks. The disease I've been facing, the struggle I've been facing, Lyme disease, this one just hit so close to home. I don't care what method they use, whether it's through vaccines or freaking, they're not vaccines. None of them, not a single one of them. The very definition we understand a vaccine is none of them meet that definition. Therefore, none of them are what they mean to us. None of that exists. We got the information. We've gone over it in depth. There's a new one, actually. I believe the Stu Peters Network, shout out to Stu, is in fact going to be releasing soon with very prestigious doctors, institutions, big money coming in and actually exposing every single shot on the market and how damning it is. And over my dead body is the stance for any single one of them. But we've been programmed and we are blindly entrusting. And this is a tough one because we conform to our environment. Think of the parents. Oh, well, to continuously have your child go to school. Well, everyone else is doing it, I'm going to do it. And we lie to ourselves as though we're informed. Have you gone through every ingredient on... I mean, you can get upwards of 50 freaking vaccines administered at a time now. It is insane. And you literally could recite every single ingredient and the impact it's going to have neurologically, biologically, instantly, and futuristically. You've done that depth? Because until we have, then you're lying to yourself. The aluminum alone, the nano aluminum, accumulatively or even singularly, I mean, that's how they excuse it even being in there because, oh, this is so minuscule, it's not even harmful. But when you add them all up, it's so damning. So that's kind of a more specific situation as to proof as to how we're blindly entrusting and we're willing to lie to ourselves as though we've done research. And it's difficult. You got to go through and look because they get selective. There's selective studies that go over and highlight facts of any type of trial regarding any of this stuff, but it's very selective. You almost got to become educated to learn how to even go through all the almost alien language documentation and see how they're in fact lying and becoming deceitful. It's tricksy. Or you find more trustworthy sources and doctors that are walking through that information. I can't wait to share that additional one when it comes out. But let's continue and wrap this up. But insects, come on. Insects.
I was going to walk away and get on with my life. But then 2 things happened within the space of a month. And I said, I can't let this story go. I just have to know what is really going on with this disease. And one was I met a CIA black ops guy who said in 1962, the weirdest thing he'd ever done in his whole crazy apocalypse now career was dropping poison ticks on Cuban sugarcane workers. That was Operation Mongoose. So that was the first evidence that we had dropped ticks on a foreign country as a bioweapon. And then the other thing is one of my filmmaker friends went out to Willy Bergdorfer, and in a very long interview, at the very end, he said, yeah, when I investigated the Lyme disease sickness in the late 70s, early 80s, there was another organism there. It wasn't just Lyme that was making people sick. It was, and I was told to cover it up. It was probably a rickettsia. He didn't release all the information, but what he said was confirmed by copies of his lab books and subsequent interviews that I had with him.
Pardon my ignorance, what is the disease you described, the other one? Rickettsia?
So it's a rickettsia. It is the same organism that causes Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and that's the most deadly tick-borne disease in the United States. It also was a germ that was being weaponized by the U.S. military at the time, and they tried to stuff it in ticks. I mean, so what is tick weaponization? So in the interviews with Willie, what he said was, I spent over a decade in the biological weapons program, a contractor to Fort Detrick, working on weaponizing fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes, trying to mass produce them, stuffing fleas with the plague, stuffing mosquitoes with deadly Trinidad virus, and then stuffing ticks with either deadly or incapacitating diseases like relapsing fever, Venezuelan equine encephalitis, rabies, leptospirosis, which is another spirochete. So it's just like Dr. Strangelove trying to make new diseases, mixing bacteria and virus in ticks with the intent of, this is the perfect stealth weapon. It's poor man's nuke. You drop these insects on an enemy, it weakens the population, it ties up the medical resources, but doesn't destroy infrastructure. Like
when evil overtakes a country, who's the enemy to evil? Oh, good people. Enemy isn't abroad. It's right here. To the very ones controlling this country. And it's bigger than Trump in this administration. And that is clear. You ask any of your elected officials a very simple question. What do you care more about? The American people or Israel? And it isn't biblical Israel. It's the banking cabal utilizing that as a shield through anti-Semitism to further their crime rings without being questioned. And I don't know any other administration other than this one that is actively to the suppression, to exterminating even everything the founding fathers gave us, from our constitutional rights, our freedom of speech. I don't believe they're going to have to really push 2A at the point they continuously effectively diminish our even ability to acknowledge anymore or see anymore. And we are desperately nearing that, for frick's sakes. A live genocide's taken place. I don't see any of my loved ones speaking out on the truth on the matter at all, because it's been politicized. It ties into fictional biblical teachings that they've just been spewed into their being their whole lives. It's like that young gentleman, just like, hey, my boy, Ted Cruz, or whatever his name is. If this is going to be your belief and you're going to speak about the Bible, maybe read the Bible. It's been the greatest blessing of my life thus far. Full sin. I'll continuously step in it. I know I'm stepping in it now. Some people may gravitate towards a message like this. Some may not. We all have our own, but we're beyond muzzles. We're beyond withholding punches of truth. Full stop. Okay, what is going on? How our medical has been weaponized in and of itself. It's no longer fulfilling. A hospital doesn't fulfill what it states, what it means to us, and our most vulnerable state of needing help, emergency surgery or emergency services. This is a very dangerous, weaponized method. And we've seen it all. Dr. Artis, God bless you, brother. Stay safe. So many of the individuals. McCullough. We'll just play the first little bit, but all the links of all this information is down below. Check them out.
The reason why they use DNA from the cells of other humans and other animals in vaccines is to trigger an autoimmune reaction. Now, I'm going to set this up for everybody.
I mean, I feel sick.
This is to make you aware. This is the autoimmune industry complex. Inject people without them asking or knowing DNA from other species and other humans into their body.
Because we're not informed.
You will wreck their immune system and create autoimmune diseases for life.
He brings the receipts, folks. He backs up everything he states. And I don't know anyone more well-researched than individuals like that. They bring it all. Check out Dr. McCullough, 59 seconds. Just powerful. Please absorb it.
As a doctor, I have never seen something so injurious to the human body. It invades the brain. It invades the heart. It causes brain and heart damage. It invades the bone marrow. It stimulates antibodies to actually start to attack our own platelets and our other cells in our body.
The COVID shot and so many others.
Blood clotting and damage to blood vessels like we've never seen. Like we've never seen. Data from University of Pittsburgh suggesting it causes cancer. Since when do we have a protein that actually injures the brain, injures the heart, the bone marrow, the immune system, causes blood clotting, and potentially causes cancer in a single protein? It's a weapon. In fact, there are 3 papers, one by Farkas, published in Military Medicine, and 2 by Yen, published in preprint. They've actually concluded it is a bioweapon. It is a bioweapon. According to strict military criteria, it's a bioweapon. As a doctor.
Come on. You want to resort on the ones that say safe and effective, yet leave the whole insert intentionally left blank? That's who you trust? the one industry out of all industries that exist today that gains some level of immunity of lawsuits. The one industry that has factually paid out the largest criminal settlements in the tunes of millions and billions of dollars in human history. You believe all that? I got a vaccine to sell you. I got some dirt out here I can sell you. Heck, I got some air I could sell you. Reach out to unmuzzlechat@gmail.com. I'll give you the banking info and then I'll send it all your way. Unbelievable. Lastly, this freaking guy. I mean, it's out there in the open. Okay? I don't know how we truly all haven't absorbed all this. Is the proof is in how we continuously lie to ourselves and as though none of this matters and we just want to get back to a life of freaking normacy without addressing. There is no life of normacy without addressing these threats. This was the biggest distribution of wealth throughout human history, entirely wiping out the middle class in this country. For the first time in this country's history, the majority of the wealth lies within the 1%, which is thousands, not tens of thousands, thousands of people. Can we even sit back and imagine the majority of the wealth in just the thousands where there's 100 millions over here and we're just picking up the scraps and we want to accept that? Listen.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
What?
Well, common sense would tell you if you have a man standing in front of you saying he's going to reduce the world's population by 10 or 15% using vaccines, what does that mean to you? It means somebody's going to die because you put a vaccine in them. It doesn't mean you're going to save people. That's pretty much common sense in my brain. But yet I saw him say it. He said it. And here we are. I don't know. Here we are.
Where has our common sense gone, folks? Where is it? Any one of these attacks should be enough. The planned scamdemic should have been enough. Epstein should have been enough. The lies and deceit should be enough. Heck, the gentleman that built the water engine and him being murdered. Okay, we could chalk it off. Okay, maybe it was some form, but the simple fact all his research disappeared. I mean, that couldn't have happened within this country in the time frame it did when you actually look into it. That was too freeing for we the people. We've been only steered in directions of more suppression and control. That's in fact why they're pushing fake global warming and whatever propaganda and climate and carbon and tying in. It's totally fictional. And we debunked it and we could debunk it again. Simply ask yourself real quick, how much of our ozone actually accounts for carbon and CO2? For example, how much? If you want to stand the world on its head, stop everyone in their diesel and gassers, okay? All the coal factories, you got to be able to answer that simple question. The majority of the woke and whatever spoon-fed, blind trusting, don't know the answer to that question. Well, therefore, you don't have credibility to move forward on any Green New Deals, which is, I mean, a full tank of gas and cash in your pocket is freedom. A water engine that 20 gallons will get you from coast to coast is even more freedom than they were willing to allow. Are you keep picking up what I'm saying? But anyway, to answer the question regarding the ozone, 0.04% of the atmosphere accounts for CO2. 0.04. How much of that percentage is accounted and documented and impacted by humans? 0.3% of the 0.04%. Therefore, and then you could humor them further and go to, okay, Well, once again, we could agree, carbon, gross. It gets a little too much buildup in cities, and, you can't, oh, God, it's raining and my dogs are out there. You know what? They'll be under the camper. They'll survive. I apologize. Bad dog dad. Just started pouring. I felt the camper shaking. Anyway, total squirrel. Sorry, I don't mean to be distracted over here. But even if you move that conversation even in more depth, they're not addressing the biggest contributors such as landfills and all these other things that are way more impactful than our diesels and gassers. And if it was about that, that's what they'd be addressing. But it's not. It's control. That's all it is. So even the water engine, sorry for going on a tangent there, would in fact, if we absorbed it at the true depths it deserves, and that man's genius, why are we accepting the unacceptable even regarding that? So all this other stuff, I don't want to take away from the importance of focusing on what's taking place in Gaza, because it shows how we are owned, controlled, and occupied right here at home. And I want us to be able to clean our hands, hopefully sooner versus later, and get the blood off of them. But to touch on all that other stuff, it's important too, because if we lose the ability in our health, then we can't effectively show up anywhere else or address what's taking place here in the occupation of this very country. In closing, let's just go through. I want to share or challenge. Please dive into it. Some of these scripture. I'm just going to go with what jumps out at me. What was it on this page? Antichrist. That's what jumped out at me. It's important we gain more understanding so we're not falling to the devil's minions, so we don't fall prey to that deception. Many will claim to be God's messenger. This is Matthew 24:5. Many will have miraculous power. This is Matthew 24:24. Many will claim to be Christ. This is Luke 21:8. The Antichrist will be lawless and deceitful. 2 Thessalonians 2:1-10. There's so much lawlessness. We are trampling on Nuremberg, all these other historical lessons. How do we bomb unprovoked Iran over Netanyahu? Netanyahu lied to us about Iraq, saying they held nuclear power. We proved that wrong. And at what cost of our lives and innocent lives there? And we go bomb Iran during negotiation time? I'm not falling for this crap, folks. I pray you don't either, because it's deceitful and it's antichrist-like lawlessness. There are many antichrists. 1 John 2:18. The antichrist will oppose God. 1 John 4:3. The antichrist will curse God. Maybe not blatantly, right, in front of our face, but he's cursing them through the actions. Anyway, that's Revelation 13:1-8. The Antichrist will be punished by God. Revelation 20:10. We need to gear up with more of this, folks. Just let me browse it. Ooh, courage. Let's do that. Courage. God gives us victory. Psalm 112:8. Jesus' strength gives us courage. John 16:33. Courage helps us boldly represent Christ. Acts 4:31. Christians should be courageous. 1 Corinthians 16:13. pray for courage. Ephesians 6:19 through 20. Christians can pray to God with confidence. Hebrews 4:16. Men of America, where is your courage in Christ? How are we falling for the deceptive tactics leading to a whole nation? These people were there prior to the invasion the bankers created of the land they now call Israel in 1948. People want to say it's all justified because October 7th? First of all, look at these Israeli patch on the shoulder that encompasses a much larger landmass than the Rothschilds currently have. Ask yourself, how do they achieve that? They must have false flag events. Charlie Kirk even spoke out on, because he's visited there. The majority of us speak out on it as though we know, and we haven't visited there. We don't understand. And he was asking the very important questions. How did October 7th even happen? I've seen that wall. I've seen these borders. You can't go 10 feet without running into an Israeli soldier with an AR freaking 15. And they were able to rape and supposedly pillage and babies and ovens and all these things for over 8 hours before the Iron Dome and the military that we've spent trillions up to that point to enforce respond, and their response actually kills more of their own than supposedly the attackers themselves. Guys, they needed that. And it doesn't even justify what they're doing to 2.5 million people. Wake up. Where's the courage? What are you going to do today? You can ignore this. It's all your choice, but God sees everything. I question whether this is enough. Do I need to pack my bag and go over there? What do I need to do, God? I will listen. I will follow. It's more important. It's His will. Anything shy of that is selfishly falling short. Now, if you genuinely feel you're just engaged, there's simple things we could do more each and every day. There just is. And we must seek that. Help channel some of that energy and blessing into what I'm trying to do here on your behalf, on God's behalf, on our nation's behalf. Help us gain more momentum. Help all of our voices get louder and louder. Let's once again truly become unmuzzled. Help us gain proper organization. Once again, the simplest act to take right now in this moment is to hit that stupid little like button. More importantly, to share this. Share it to the moon. The majority of the information that we went over on this very episode is being nuked off the internet. Good luck finding this rendition of that song exposing the genocide taking place anywhere else. Good luck. It's hard. Follow a Muzzle Chat on all the different platforms. Stay informed. Stay tuned. There's more calls to action we're going to come up with. Simple ones. Just like the banning of the sprays. It's right here in the description below. It's in all the episodes since I found that source. It's not even me. No accolades. Wish it wasn't my face. Wasn't my voice. Just working within the confines and the ability I feel drawn to do. I'm not asking this for self-gain. I'm not asking these things for pedestaling. What is a church without its congregation? Nothing. Help us. Help me help you. More importantly, help me help the ones in need. What is the problem with us that we sleep so soundly as others can't sleep. Bombs, bullets. Just based on that one statistic, I'm sure I won't get a wink again tonight either. Knowing every 45 minutes, it's less than that, I guarantee you that, an innocent child is being murdered. Knowing we supplied the dang means. It is far past time that we take these actions and continually seek more steps to take each day that we are given. It's a gift. Let's do better. I love you all. I need to go for a walk. I need to clear my head. I hope this wasn't too dark and doesn't diminish your light. God bless you.